Today, we're going to be taking a look at Beyond the Winds from the North, which is the latest miniatures set that's from the game Warcrow, which is a war game that I have fallen deeply in love with. So let's just dive in and see what the box looks like. Okay, so I mentioned it in in the unboxing video I did for the Winds from the North and the rulebook and stuff, but I just really like this art piece. It's like, I just like the hair and just the style of it. It's really cool. One side you get the art piece, one side you get the actual minis in the box. So let's go ahead and open that up and see what these minis look like. So here we have our unit cards. Just gonna try to pop this open here without, go. And as always, the unit cards are in English on one side and Spanish on the other side. We have Lady Tilia. We have the Gunnery Corporal, who is the generic version of her. We have the Pioneers. We have the Hersier, which is the generic version. Nord. And we have the Skin Changers. And for those of you that haven't seen the Gunnery Corporal card yet, here it is. So compared to Lady Tilia, she's just 5 points less. I might do a deeper dive into her stats. And then here is the Hersier versus Nord the Merciless. And the point difference here, is much different. 40 to 25. That's actually pretty good because I was looking at the Northern Tribes. I was trying to like list build with just the Beyond box and the Winds box. And if you take Ice Bear and Nord, it's like so expensive. So Hersier might be a good alternative choice to kind of bring down your point values. Also, it's a cool sneak peek as to what the Hersier mini will look like. At least one version of the mini, and what the Gunnery Corporal will look like. But of course, we're mainly here for the minis, aren't we? So let's take a look and see what the minis are and hope that we have no mispacks. Alright, so they're all packaged individually with their bases. So we have bases here. We also have the other set of them. So let's take a look. So first off, we have what looks like Lady Tilia. Hopefully we won't witness myself cutting me. We won't see myself getting cut. So here's her head. And I'm going to work around with the focus here. Hopefully we'll be able to... I can manually focus it too. There. So we can see Tilia. Pretty nice, not a lot of flash and stuff here. Here's her front, which is the part I'm the most worried about with flash. Not really much here. Easily fits together. I just realized she kind of has a very similar pose to Drago the Anvil. And then here's her really cool rifle. Okay. So that's Lady Tilia. Put her back in her bag. We'll just go in order of what I'm seeing here. Next we have the Ghent, one of our pioneers. Is this the cool guy with the cigar? I think it is. He's a chunky little dude. He's our Ghent with his cigar. Pretty cool. Nice little backpacks, or a nice little belt of stuff. Not too complicated. Some war games make minis and they have a ton of stuff on them and it's a little bit overstimulating, but this isn't too much. Here's his gun. This might be a little challenging to clean, just the front. But aside from that, not too bad. And then, of course, the backpack. And this one has, I don't think this is the frying pan one. One of them has a frying pan. Hoopo said it was in honor of Samwise Gamgee, but he does have a little lantern here, a shovel, which he's going to need for his shoveling ability. And his arm. Alright, that's one of our pioneers done. I'm really curious to see what the arquebusiers or the riflemen, the rifle corps are going to be, because that I kind of like rifles in fantasy, like this old school rifle flintlock black powder design. So here is here's our other Ghent, our other dwarf pioneer. Looks like he's got a little antenna sticking up there. You could keep it and turn him into Alfalfa from Rugrats. No, not Rugrats. Little Rascals. So he has, once again, some stuff on his belt. Pretty much the same thing as the other guy. Here's his gun arm, his right arm with his rifle pickaxe. Thought it was curved a little. Does that look curved to you? I don't think so, but he has this cool kind of pack here with stuff. That's always fun. And then here we have the backpack with the shovel and some rope and stuff. So the other guy must have been the one with the frying pan. Just didn't look like a frying pan. Cool. Cool. I thought the frying pan was like a hexagon frying pan. I thought in the artwork, but whatever. Not a deal breaker. So those are the hegemony models. Look at the difference here. I had to cut open some bags, and some bags give me this. So this is Nord, the Merciless. He's a little bit more pieces. Here we have the legs. I'm seeing some similarities here to Ice Bear. Standing on his tactical rock. Warcrow loves their tactical rocks. Oh, here's the, let's see if I can get it there. The mountain lion, cavern lion. Let's see. It is a cavern lion. So I'm assuming this is a cavern lion. I hope that we get some cool, like, Beast-spawned variant, where, like, they have animal familiar type things, like a ranger from D&D or whatever. It's cool, a lot of fur texture here. White, of course, because they're in the north, so that's always fun. Cool to see somebody do like a alternate version of the variant in like a different biome. Here we have the head, torso, and head of Nord. Actually, the head is not too shabby looking. Sometimes there's flak and stuff, but I don't think there's much flak at all, except for this little headpiece. Little thing on top of his head. Some abs and muscles, because these guys are ripped. And then the axe. Just this massive, cool axe. Put in the comments below, the Herseer, obviously he has this guy, Nord, has the axe. What do you want to see the generic Herseer with? And I guess, what do you want to see the normal gunnery captain with? Gunnery corporal with? Because I'm assuming they're just going to have rifles, but the generic versions might be a little different. So, what are you interested in to see for the two generic heroes? We have one of the skin changers. I love these models. They just look so cool. I was talking with some people at the game store about, like, I guess people have been wanting to run like whole forces of them, and who wouldn't? They're super cool looking. Man, I was gonna paint the dwarves first, but just looking at these northern tribes. Here's the legs. The northern tribes have grown on me a lot. Like, I do think they're cool, especially the Variank. The Variank were what kind of got me into. This is her kind of doing her berserker rage scream. I just love this model. Oh, she even has like little knives on her back, it looks like. Clean that up a bit. But yeah. They're nice and tall. The northern tribes are growing on me. One, just from a painting and modeling perspective, they're like these nice chunky models. And two, like, almost when I do demos at the game store, when I play with my buddy and quite a few people, nobody wants to play the tribes. They always want to play the hegemony. And so they've kind of grown on me as just, like they're the ones that are left over. So now I get stuck playing with them. So I'm kind of just determined to kind of collect all of them just because I like them so much. Here's the other Variant skin changer. Whoop. Nice Psyocast. Psyocast is interesting. After building the first wave of them, the initial release wave, like you can drop them, they're not going to break, but it's weird. It goes from being like flexible to being very inflexible in different parts of the model, and it's softer too. So like sanding doesn't work. You have to more like cut. Here she is. This one has the braids. Let's see, can you see that in focus there? So, yeah. Cool. So I will assemble all these models and give kind of my final thoughts on them, and we'll go from there. Okay, so really quick, I just wanted to kind of go over what I use to kind of build these models, especially with Psyocast. It's a little different than like plastic minis or metal minis and stuff like that. So to cut them and kind of get them off of their little sprues and stuff, I just use these snips. I got this at like Walmart, but the snips, I use X-Acto blades to kind of just smooth out and carve up, whatever I need to cut off things, stuff like that. My fingers can attest to the little cuts and stuff. But I use the X-Acto knives. These are pretty much my main tools. Occasionally, I will try to use something like this. It's like a metal sander, but I go very light. But Psyocast is it's weird, and if you know how to sand it, feel free to put it down in the comments below. But whenever I sand Psyocast, either vigorously or very light, it kind of looks a little fuzzy just because of the material it is. So I try to not sand it at all. The main super glue I use is the original super glue. It's more of a liquid. Occasionally I will use this gel super glue as kind of a adhesive, but also as something to kind of mold, and I'll show you what I mean in a second, to gap fill. And then just to help with certain attachment spots, I use the instant super glue accelerator. So you spray it on one side, you spray the super glue on the other side, you connect the two spots, and it usually dries within a few seconds. So this stuff is really, really helpful. Just be when you spray this and you attach those two spots, make sure they are connected correctly or where you want them to be, because it will adhere very quickly. So those are the tools, but let's get on to the actual models themselves. So first off, I want to show the skin changers. These models are really, really cool. I really enjoyed making them. I was listening to some what I like Spotify like Viking metal as I made them, and they got me pretty hyped. Let me see here with the focus. So I really like them. They're big. Let me get a model to show you. So here is one of my bucklermen, and here is one of the skin changers, and then here is a orc, one of my orcs. Here's one of them. So they're fairly large, which is nice. Like I said, the northern tribes are nice because they're just like these big chunky models. So here we go. So here's the skin changes. One thing I didn't notice before, if you look at her base, at this one skin changer who's kind of screaming, let me see if I can get this really close up here. Her base is actually a hegemony shield, which is cool. Spring. And so this is Njord. He was the hardest model to make. Most of these models went pretty easy. There's a few just like you got to get things together. Njord was, I think, for me, the most difficult model. As you can see, there's like some super glue reflecting off the light in different spots because it was just a little bit goofy. So I attached this arm first, I attached this arm first, and then I glued this on, or I glued this arm on first, and it was just, the axe didn't line up. And so I tried fixing it, and there was a little break here. So that's where that Loctite comes in, because it's more of a gel, it's not a liquid. So the liquid super glue is really nice because it will flow into all the cracks and crevices, but the Loctite is a thicker gel. So I hit it with that, so hopefully this gap here will get, you know, kind of sealed up. I don't really want to mess too much with milliput and stuff, and especially because it's kind of like under his arm, it doesn't look too weird. But this is Nord Merciless. I also had some problems with the torso connection to the waist. So if you are assembling this, I would say just, you know, I looked at the picture for reference because there's no building instructions. Do it so that his face is directly, you know, straight with the rest of his body. But he's a cool model. I mean, he's big too. Here is a buckler, and here is a fork. They are not attached to their bases because for the bucklerman I have a custom 3D printed base topper I've made and kind of edited from another creator. So I do those on them, and I like to paint my bases separately. And then for the Northern Tribes, I have like a frozen lake kind of aesthetic I'm going for, so I don't like to put them on the bases. Next up we have our Pioneers and Lady Tilia. So the Pioneers were pretty easy actually. They're nice little squat fat dwarves, and they were fun to make. Very easy to make. Overall, all of this took me about, I would say, 45 minutes to really get rid of layer lines and stuff. And I found the frying pan. It's right here. So I thought this was kind of like a bowl, but I noticed it's like this. So the frying pan is more of like a ladle type. It's like it's a wok, really. But then they have some other tools and stuff. But yeah. So this is the guy with the cigar. I feel like I want to give this guy a name. I may ask my buddy who plays when I play with him, he always wants to play Hegemony, like I've said before, so I may ask him what he wants to name him. And then here is our other guy. I'm trying on a new camera setup, so I apologize if there's any out of focus things. So these guys are fun. They're little, you know, they're dwarves. If you have a dwarf mini for any game, they're shorter. Here we can see, but not too short, which is nice. Oh, my whole table just moved. Okay, and then last one is Lady Tilia. I'm actually very excited about this model. Like I said, I just like guns and fantasy. Just, you know, not too crazy necessarily, but like these black powder type weapons, it's fun. Especially when it's like a limited resource, or it's like, you know, not everybody has them. But here she is. She's got her same. You know, I gotta find out what these bottles are, because Drago has these bottles too, and I want to know what they are. Is it like they're knocking back, you know, shots on the battlefield to get that high willpower they have? I don't know. What do you think is in the bottles? Let me know in the comments. But she's cool. She's got like a whole bunch. She's got her ammo cartridges. She's got her awesome cloak, or her coat. One thing about her that Drago had this issue too. The ends of the rifles and his pistol always have these little bubbles on them, so I'm always worried about cutting them. But when I cut this one, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a hole. It's like they pre-drilled the barrel. Now I don't necessarily know if that's intentional. Let's see if I can maybe. I don't know if that's maybe intentional, but it's nice. It's a nice little bonus to have if I have it. Her face is a little white like that because that's just the aftermath of super glue. Because there's another gap here. So a lot of these models have like I should have showed you earlier, but it's like they have a peg and a square peg, and you fit them in of various shapes. I found with Siocast sometimes I need to cut those off. With her, I was excited because she was my last one to make, so I just fit her together. But it didn't fit fully together. So, but it's not a big deal. And a lot of times with these, paint will hide it. Paint and shading and stuff will hide it. So these are all of the models. And let me zoom out here. So these are all the models from the Beyond the Winds from the North box. I think in the future, Corvus Belli should have some shorter starter boxes or core boxes, because then their Beyond boxes won't be as long. But this is Beyond the Winds from the North. I'm really excited to see how this goes. And in this box, just to go over, you get a unit, 2 units, you know, a unit for each faction of characters, or let me rephrase that. You get 1 unit for each faction, each containing 2 characters. So for all of the Northern Tribes, if you take these 2, that's it. For all of the Hegemony, if you take these 2, that's it. And then you get 2 named characters who can also stand in as unnamed characters, generic heroes or generic supports for the game, which will be nice because you can kind of do some more list building with that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed kind of this look at the models that are in the Beyond the Winds from the North box. I'm really excited. I actually didn't realize that there would be a generic hero card for the 2 heroes in the box. So that's really, really excited. I'm excited to kind of tinker around with lists and kind of building with the limited points we have right now. The dream, right, is to get to the 250 points. And right now we're not there. Next month when we get the Bulwarks for the Gemini and the Tundra Marauders for the Northern Tribes, will definitely be in that range to kind of tinker around and get to the full 200 points. But needless to say, I'm very excited about this. I love building and not sculpting, but painting these models, sculpting their bases. It's just really, really fun, and I just love this game. So let me know in the comments what you think of the box, and if you stay out of the fog, I'll see you in the next video.